Hi, everybody. This is Liz Delaney from Delaney and Sons, and I am here today with Lars Jacob from Lars Jacob Wingshooting. And Lars has been a part of our lives for a while now, and I know that Lars, you met Sean, and then I got to meet you. And why don't you tell everybody about you and what you do, and why I brought you here today?
Sure, Liz, and I appreciate it too. This is great to see you again. It's been a while since when we were over in Wales together in November. But yeah, I've been doing this for a huge chunk of my life, 30 plus years in the gun business, the high-end shotgun business in particular. Not just the retail, the collecting part of it, but also in shooting instruction, gun fitting. And I like to say that I'm more of a feather coach than I am a clays coach, though I do teach people how to shoot clays as well. But there's definitely differences in methodology, and I like to really target on those methodologies that is best for feather. And I started I worked at Orbis for almost a dozen years in their shooting schools, as well as managing their gun department for some time. And it's a way of life for me. I've grew up hunting and fishing. I had a father who was avid, and we went everywhere. We had a little small single engine plane in the backyard, and we just flew to our different places of hunting and fishing, our camps and stuff. And so it's been a real joy to be able to make it my business as well as my pleasure.
Yeah. Well, I know that a lot of people seek your advice for a lot of things and related to shooting. And now that a lot of us are in our homes, not getting out to the clays courses, it's the off season. How can we, if we're at home, keep practicing, keep are staying in shape for the shooting season, and maybe practicing our gun mounts?
Sure. Well, a lot of people think that we can't practice shooting unless we're actually on a range and we have shells in the gun, and that's the only way we can practice. But those same people who think that way have always taken their golf club to their office and gotten up every once in a while and taken a few swings to practice those mechanics, and then sat back down to work. Well, now you're at home, so you don't have you got your guns already there. You don't have to take them to your office. You're right next to your den where your guns are stored, or your gun safe, or however it is that you put your guns up. And so every once in a while, get up off the chair in front of the desk and the computer and pick up that gun and practice at home. And there are many, many different ways we can practice and things that we're trying to embed into muscle memory, different focuses in your house that will help you learn proper mechanics. For instance, you have these lines. We've talked about this many times. You have lines in your house created by where the ceiling hits the wall and there's molding, or the corners of the rooms, or even casings around doors and windows. If you look behind me, you have a line right here where the top of my gun racks are. That's a nice straight line that could represent a flight path of a bird. So it's kind of nice to be able to take your gun. It is empty because that's preferred. Otherwise, you're going to keep your sheetrocker very, very busy for a long time. But if I think about this line at the end of my office as a nice passing shot of a dove or a duck, and I can set up with a low gun pointing at that line and following that line at the same time I'm coming up to a gun mount. Okay, so you're teaching your body the muscle memory of swinging the gun with the core of your body. You are forcing that forehand to stay in connection with that line while the right hand hinges up to the cheek. And you're going to imagine that the corner of the room is where you plan to take the shot at that bird. So you follow that line as you're hinging, hit the cheek, squeeze the trigger, and then push yourself beyond, so that you also embed follow through into muscle memory as well. So that's a fantastic way to practice at home, following different lines. Now, like I said, that particular line was, imagine a passing shot of a dove or a duck. If you face the absolute corner, then you have lines that are quartering towards you. And as they do so, you have to learn to teach your shoulders to stay on that same line by giving that slight tilt, so that we can practice our driven bird shooting with the proper tilt of our shoulders following the line on the ceiling or wall. You also can use that corner of the room for a straightaway escaping target, such as a pheasant or quail or anything else that we might walk up hunt on. So those are the lines. That's one very, very solid practice. And I really, really suggest it because it really embeds efficiency of gun movement the more and more you practice it.
Yeah. And the muscle memory, yes. I mean, I can tell when I haven't been out and I'm a little rusty. The gun doesn't mount as nice and smoothly as it does when I've been doing it for a while.
Right, right.
Good, good. Is there anything else that we can do at home?
Well, yeah, there is. There's if you ever had proper coaching, every once in a while that coach will ask you to show you the breech of the gun to make sure it's empty. Then that coach will get in front of the gun to see where your pupil is in relation to the rib of the gun. Now, properly, what we want in a proper gun mount is your pupil to be dead square centered to that rib, and that rib should almost appear to be dissecting the bottom third of your pupil. And remember, notice I'm saying pupil, not your eye, your pupil. That's the real rear sight in shotgunning. So you can get that same effect of how a coach looking down the muzzle by pointing the gun at the reflection of your right eye in the mirror. So if you're right, and I'm always going to be talking as a right-handed shooter. So obviously any left-handed shooters just take it in reverse. But if I'm in front of a mirror and I'm looking at my right eye and in my down ready position with the muzzle already pointing at my right eye, and then I come up into my gun mount on the reflection of my right eye. As soon as I finish that gun mount, that mirror is going to tell you everything. It's going to tell you where the pupil is. If your pupil is too high, maybe because you're back on your heels, maybe because you didn't give yourself that extension forward, then we got to figure out how to get it down lower. So we make that adjustment after you mount the gun, see that your pupil's too high, make the adjustment. And it might be if I was back on my heels and I came up and I said that's too high, and then I extend forward and all of a sudden it's at the right level. Now I know that movement that I have to make to get that pupil in its proper position, and I incorporate it in the gun mount. So, okay, now I'm gonna do half a dozen of these gun mounts with that extension so that my pupil is lined up in the right spot of the eye. So it's very visual. It's a very good, you can see immediately the response to the proper or improper gun mount in the mirror, and you can make the corrections.
Yeah, yeah. And Sean also said sometimes if you can get someone to videotape you. I know that you had said that.
You can even do it. You can even put your camera, your iPhone, or whatever it is you use on a tripod and do it yourself.
Yeah.
And what you're looking for then, what does that side view is, we have a tendency for self-taught shooters to overpower a gun with their dominant hand. So I'm right-handed. So if I come up and my right hand wants to beat my left hand, you're going to see this little seesaw motion to the gun. We want to eliminate that seesaw motion to the gun. And I've stood behind so many people and I say, you're dipping your muzzles, you're dipping your muzzles. And they say, I don't see it. I don't see it. And so you put that camera out there and then they get the broadside view of themselves dipping that muzzle because of the overpowering right hand. They said, oh, now I see it. He said, you got to start the gun movement. Always starts with the hand that holds the forestock. Okay, that's the lead hand. And that's difficult for people who are right-handed shooting right shoulder because they want to move everything and start everything with the right hand. It's a dominant hand. You got to teach this hand to be dominant. Okay, you got to teach this hand to be the one that points. Because typically, if I had nothing in my hands and you say point at that corner of the room, I would naturally do it with my right hand because that's my dominance. So teach that hand to be dominant. Start pushing the barrels and the gun forward with the left hand. Let the right hand follow and hinge up to the cheek. And now we have that nice level gun mount. What they used to say is, imagine you had a tumbler of your finest single malt scotch on that rib of the gun. You don't want to spill that 24-year-old scotch on the floor as you're mounting the gun. Keep it flat. Keep the two hands working in perfect unison.
A lot of shooters can picture that, I'm sure.
Especially these days.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm sure there's scotch right near the gun safe.
Yes, yes. Well, good. Well, I know you're such a great coach. I wish that you lived closer to Pennsylvania, where we live. But if some people want to get in touch with you or want to have you as a coach, how would they get in touch with you? Uh-oh.
Yes, I mean, you can get a hold of me at larsjacobwingshooting.com, or my phone is 802-289-2002. That's my business line. I have it on me all the time, and I'd love to coach.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. Well, we'll put all that information under the video. So, well,
Sounds
thanks
good.
for helping us today and giving us something to do while we're at home.
Fantastic, Liz. Yeah, keep it. Oh, by the way, the other
Yes.
thing too is that as you're mounting that gun more and more, you're working out those particular muscles that are just for that, which
Right.
also happens to be with your right hand. It happens to be the same muscle that lifts that glass of wine. So you're getting good muscle work both ways, whether it's a shotgun or the glass of wine.
That's good. I'll remember that, and
All
I'll
right.
probably feel a little bit better when I have that drink. All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, Lars.
Thanks, Liz. Bye-bye.
Bye.